Hi, I'm Steve Thomas, and I'm here with Joe Umasella, who's the president and founder of INTEX Millwork Solutions. And we're going to show you how to put together a Liberty railing system. It's really simple. How did you come up with the idea?
Well, Steve, we were talking to a lot of our customers, and the general consensus is people are looking for products that take some of the labor and complexity out of the field and move it into the factory. So we've been really working on products that are more system-based designs that are easier to install.
Let's see how it goes together. So it starts with a lower aluminum reinforcement. That gives it strength.
That's right. Then you move on to your common rail, which is pre-routed for the baluster locations.
And the balusters plug into that.
From there, the balusters plug into those pre-routed holes.
Yeah.
Then you have another common rail for the top end of the rail.
They plug in on top.
Plug in on top. And then your aluminum, again, goes in.
Gives it strength.
You attach to your posts, and then your cap conceals all the hardware.
That is a really cool system. And you get a hardware kit.
Yes. Also, what's included in the hardware kit are stainless steel brackets, as well as the screws to attach the aluminum to the bracket, and then the screws to attach the bracket back to the post, the crush block screw, a few extra screws just in case, as well as the installation instructions.
Good. So here's a closer view of how the system goes together. Again, starting with that bottom aluminum reinforcement.
Correct. We take the bottom aluminum reinforcement, smooth side facing the baluster, place your common rail that's pre-routed for the baluster, install your baluster.
Just plugs in. That's cool.
And then from there you take your common rail for your top, your aluminum, seat everything into place, and apply your top cap.
Wow, couldn't be simpler. All right, now we're ready to install, and the key to a smooth installation is making sure that your newel posts are dead on plumb.
You also want to make sure that your shims are in place at your connection points on your railing.
Then I like to just tack the newel post into place using some stainless steel screws. And these will be hidden by the rails. All right, now it's time for some vertical layout. And on this particular porch, we wanted the top elevation to be at 36.5 inches because it worked out with the stair rail.
Residential code requires a 36-inch minimum height on railing and no more than a 4-inch space beneath the bottom rail and the surface of the deck.
So that's what we got here.
That's what we have there.
And you got two different rail caps, which give you two different overall heights here.
The Liberty rail system has two types of caps, the 275 cap as well as the 350 cap. The overall rail height of the 275 cap is 33.25 from the top rail to the bottom of the bottom rail. On the 350 cap, the overall rail height is 33 3/8 from the top rail to the bottom of the bottom rail.
Now we just transfer that dimension, 33.25, over to our newel sleeve here. Starting at the top, 33.25, and that will give us the bottom of the bottom aluminum reinforcement. That's our layout. So now it's time to lay out the lower common rail, and there's two ways to do that. One is you can measure it and then transfer the measurement to the lower common rail. But really the foolproof way to do it is to take a piece of 1x stock, set it on your marks, and mark it. Then we'll cut it and fit it. All right. We want us a nice tight fit. Right there, you on your marks?
Yes, sir.
Okay, let's check the bottom. Check the top. Perfect. Now we got our length. Let's do the layout. So I've marked the center line on the pattern, and now we can lay out the lower common rail. And because the baluster spacing is fixed, there's only two options.
Right. Basically, you mark out your center line of your opening, and there's two options. One's going to work best. So basically, you line up your space between two balusters with your center line, and then you check your baluster spacing at the ends of your rails.
And that doesn't work. Because you got this terrible little space in between the newel sleeve and the last baluster. So
you shift over, to the center of a baluster, and now you have an even reveal on both ends.
Right. And it will look like this over here, which is very pleasing to the eye. So that's what we'll go with. So the easiest way to do this is to take your pattern, locate the center lines, mark your ends, and cut. So for cutting this material, any sharp, fine-tooth blade will work, but recommended is a 180 tooth blade for cutting plastic. Now we test fit it. You in, Joe?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, good fit.
Perfect.
All right, now we can cut the top common rail to the same dimension. And there's the top. Now we test the fit, which is perfect. Now we're going to cut the top and the bottom aluminum reinforcements, and we're going to cut them 1/4 of an inch shorter to allow for the thickness of the brackets. So we've changed out our blade, and for cutting metal, I like to use a face shield. So next we install the stainless steel brackets using the short stainless steel square head drive screws that are in your kit. Put a couple of drops of soap in these slots, and we recommend that you use a drill with a clutch so you don't twist off the head. All right, so here is the lower aluminum reinforcement, and we've set it on a couple of offcuts from the newel sleeves that have been cut at the right height just to speed the installation, makes it easier.
So you need to install a crush block every 36 inches to support the bottom rail from vertical load. The method we use here is to strike a line at the visible opening, and then you add 9/16 of an inch to allow the crush block to penetrate into the bottom rail.
Next we install a crush block using these long crush block screws. And we drill a weep hole roughly 3 inches back from either end to allow for drainage. So now we're ready to attach the lower aluminum reinforcement with these 3-inch hex head screws. And I use this big log extension so I can get a good angle. All right, now the magic begins. This is where you really appreciate the genius of this system.
Yep.
Okay. Now the balusters. This is where it's so cool. This is so easy. But you want to savor the ease of installation. Come on, that's cool. And the middle one, since it sits over the crush block and sits on top of that screw, we cut 1/8 of an inch shorter. Now for the top common rail. This again gets installed gently. Mm-hmm. Now the trick here is to start the balusters on one end. It really helps to have 2 people on this. Take it slow. Hold on. Now this slides down. All right. Good. Now for the top aluminum reinforcement. Now we drill some weep holes in the top aluminum reinforcement, about 3 inches in from the end. One on one side of the channel, the other on the other side. And the top aluminum reinforcement should just drop right into place. And then it doesn't hurt to check it for level. We're dead on, that's great. Now we fasten it with those same hex head screws. Last step is the rail cap. And I'm going to cut that just a little bit long because I want a nice snug fit. All right, so this we can spring into place, and that'll give us a nice seam at either end. Want to go with that?
Looks good.
All right. A little bit of caulk at the contact points. All right. And to snap it into place, you want to push straight down. All right, now we put the caps on, just with a little dab of latex caulk. It's set right in place there. Nice system, Joe. Really nice. And
solid too.
I know, sure is. Very nice.